Hello everyone, I'm teacher Daphne and today we are going to tackle about collaborative learning. But before we proceed, let's take a look at our lesson objectives. In this lecture, you will be able to gain knowledge on collaborative learning. More specifically, we are going to talk about the benefits of collaborative learning, the learning principles, and also we are going to talk about or suggest some suitable activities that we could incorporate to have successful collaborative learning. In this video, we will learn what collaborative learning is. First of all, what is collaborative learning? Collaborative learning is an education approach of using groups to enhance learning through working together. It also involves joint intellectual effort by students or students and teachers. So teachers are also given the chance to work with the students, especially if they are doing some brainstorming activities. Learners are engaged in common tasks in which individuals depend on and is accountable to each other. Not only that, but it also engages learners to process and synthesize information and concepts together. So let's take a look at the principles of collaborative learning. What do you think are the learning principles of collaborative learning? Let's start with the following. First one is the heterogeneous grouping. This kind of grouping is actually a group where students are mixed together. It includes gender, religion, ethnicity, personality, age, diligence, language proficiency, and social class of students. As a teacher, we have to group our students evenly to avoid discrimination. So this will also encourage students to participate more and collaborate more with their peers. Each student can share their opinion and feedback about something. Therefore, discussion could be more fun and it will be more interesting. I'm going to give you an example. When GDU students came here in the Philippines to do community teaching, we grouped them not according to how smart they were, how pretty or handsome their faces are, or how low or high their scores were. Although some of those were our considerations, but we didn't just group them based on the highest or the lowest. But we made sure that they were actually grouped accordingly and evenly. Of course, we considered the word equality of grouping. All right? So anyway, heterogeneous grouping is mixed of every student. We have boys, girls, and based on their levels, they're also mixed, smart or fast learners, slow learners. They're all together in one group. All right. Another thing that we could see here as one of the learning principle is collaborative skill. In order to develop the collaborative skill of students, we need to let them be engaged in group activities because collaborative skills, collaborative skills such as giving information are the things needed to work with others. Let's have a quick look on the types of collaborative skills. collaboration skill, I should say. Okay. One is communication. Getting your point across can be challenged. So within a team, you can't be afraid to share your perspectives. Not even, you should be courageous enough as well to deliver your ideas or your opinion. Because here, when you have this kind of skill, you would be able to, how can I say, you would be able to share, learn how to share something, and then, of course, receive something like an information. So, how can I say? Maybe just like that. So these communication skills are essential collaboration skills, like for example, active listening. Active listening goes beyond hearing the words your members are saying. It means listening without judgment and ensuring you understand the meaning behind what they say. So if you do not understand, ask for clarification and take time to summarize what they said before moving on. Secondly, is the written communication. Of course, if we have active communication, we also have the written communication. A lot of collaboration happens in writing. So, especially if you are working remotely or individually, we tend to rely on nonverbal cues to convey meaning. So, it's especially important to be mindful on how messages might be received when communicating in writing. So, that is the written communication. Another one that we could see here is the verbal communication. When we say, what we say in a team, what we say in a team environment is key, but how you say it is also important. Sharing your perspective successfully and respectfully disagreeing or sharing your perspective successfully and respectfully disagreeing are essential aspects of verbal communication. Of course, if we also have verbal communication, we also have nonverbal communication, which is like the body and the tone. It impacts your verbal communication. The same word or the same words delivered in two different ways can convey two different meanings to those who are listening. Consider both what you are saying and how you are saying it when working with others. Okay, so we have active listening. We also have the written communication. We also have the verbal communication and the non-verbal. So these are the aspects of communication skills. Let's have the second one or the last one, which is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your emotions, recognize emotions, and of course others, and react appropriately. Also, to apply your emotion to the task that you are given. So, these two things that I have mentioned to you, the communication skill and emotional intelligence, are just aspects or the types of collaboration skills that we should also improve in our students or develop in our students. Okay, another principle is that we have to encourage the learners to look themselves for resources rather than relying solely on the teacher, which this is sometimes done in the classroom. Teachers must trust the peer interaction to do many things they have felt responsible for themselves. Like, for example, when GDU students started to make their lessons, each of them was given tasks to work on. After that, they tried to talk about the task or the topic as a group. So everyone will try to learn and to share their knowledge and ideas with others, especially within their groups. So this is actually called the group autonomy and individual accountability. All right, let's move on. We have here the word positive independence. When positive independence exists among members of group, they feel that what they help or what help one member of the group helps the other members also. And of course, what hurts one member of the group hurts the other members as well. So sometimes we actually see this one in a group, although arguments may happen anytime, but it is normal as long as you were able to facilitate them and you were able to, how can I say, guide them on how to deal with these kinds of arguments, and it will be a healthy argument. Okay? All right, let's move on. In the group, okay, we have to make sure that there should be equal participation. Yes, cooperative learning offers many ways of promoting more equal participation among group members. Everyone has the chance to do something. They won't feel left behind, but they would feel like they are part of the group and they are doing something relevant. All right. So these are actually the different learning principles that we could see in collaborative learning. Do you have any other questions, or do you have, if you have more, how can I say, if you have more things to say, or if you have an output, maybe you could write it down on your note so you could also tell to your professors or ask your professor later on, right? Okay, so another thing that we could see here are the benefits. As I told you earlier, one of our learning objective is to talk about the benefits of collaborative learning. Okay, so let's see. What do you think, as a student, what do you think are the benefits and downsides of collaborative learning? I'm pretty sure when you were doing some group activities among your in your classroom, okay, you were able to notice some benefits and some disadvantages of collaborative learning. So let's start to discuss. Using this approach, learners become more active in class. Don't you think so? When you were doing collaboration or collaborative activities, were you active in class or passive? But using this approach, it helps you to become more active. Students are actually engaged to organize their thoughts, present a cohesive argument, so they could agree or disagree about something, and they can share and discuss their unique ideas. It also teaches students how to think critically and quickly while intaking new information and adjusting their own viewpoints as ideas are introduced. Another thing is that in learning or in collaborative learning, it promotes learning from other people, especially their viewpoints. Students benefit from being or for hearing, sorry. What did I say? Students benefit from hearing diverse viewpoints, and studies show that when a person is exposed to diverse viewpoints, especially from people with varied backgrounds, they learn more. So we have to encourage our students that they should learn how to accept others' perspective, others' opinion or idea, so that they could also gain more knowledge about it. And of course, their learning will not be limited, but it could also expand. All right, so these are only the 3 of 6. So let's move on. One of the benefits of collaborative learning is when given a specific goal, students are more likely to engage in thoughtful decisions with each other, improving both their understanding of the subject and confidence for each other. They also are able to build, or this approach also, how can I say, promote listening and criticism, and of course, taking advice. Students will not only share ideas, but also they could be able to listen to others talking through their idea. Okay? How about you? Have you listed some benefits of collaborative learning? Think of it. And if you have, do write down on your notes, because you could actually use that when you are going to, or when you encounter this kind of topic again in the future. All right. If we have advantages or the benefits, what is the opposite of benefit? Downsides. Or disadvantages, right? So as a student, what do you think are the downsides of collaborative learning? So let's take a look at some downsides of collaborative learning. First of all, people need to go at different speed. We do not say that students are or they are all the same, especially with their learning speed. Okay? Some are slow, some are fast, some are just average. So this is one of the disadvantage, especially if you want the task to be done and some of your teammates are slow, it could also slow you down. Another thing is people may, or your student, some of them may try to take over the group, especially the acting leader or somebody who is smarter than the group, or the member, I should say. They tend to just take all the responsibility and then just do it on their own. Another thing is that quiet people may not feel comfortable. Of course, there are students who are quite active, and there are also students who are quite, passive or quiet. They don't want to talk too much. And these quiet people might not feel comfortable, and the more they feel uncomfortable, the more they don't talk about something. Another thing that we could see as a downside of collaborative learning is that, yes, some people may not they don't just get along. They don't like their team members, so they cannot do it. I remember that GTU students come here, when we group them, some of the teammates cannot just get along well at first, or probably sometime, but later they are able to get used to it or get used to each other. Well, that's a good sign. Okay, so in collaborative group, or in a group, you could actually see people who are not getting along or who are getting along well. Still, that is normal. Okay? Oftentimes, group members will not equally contribute to a task in which the whole group receives one grade. This happens especially when you have the smartest person or the smartest student in your team, and then you just, how can I say, you just rely on this person. So it's not actually very healthy. One of the last disadvantage that I'm going to talk about is this. The time is spent talking about something is actually not because they want to talk about the task, but they talk about irrelevant topics. When you were doing group activities, did you just seriously talk about the task? Or did you also talk about different kinds of things, which is not related to the task? Perhaps you did. Yeah? Or maybe not. Maybe you were just too serious doing your projects or the tasks, right? Which is good. Okay. So, however, others, they just spend time talking about irrelevant topics. Okay? All right, so these are just a few disadvantages or downsides of collaborative learning. How about collaborative activities? Have you ever come up with collaborative activities already? Okay. So here are some examples of collaborative or examples of activities that we could incorporate if we are using collaborative approach. Okay. First one is we could actually use pair or group discussion. We also can use bingo. Bingo is one of the most common games that we could use. Sorting and ranking as well. We also have drama and role play. We also have puzzles and riddles. Okay, let's talk about these activities one by one. Let's talk about the pair or group discussion. Are you familiar with these two activities? We have here the think, pair, and share. We also have the talk partners. Have you ever done any of these activities? Okay, so think, pair, and share means learners have to prepare a response to a text or prepare a piece of work and then explain their ideas to a partner. After the pair have discussed the issue, they have to join with another pair and then share their view and emerge with a group conclusion or perspective. So I'm not sure whether you have done this in high school, but perhaps you have done this in in your university. Okay. Another thing is the talk partner. As I mentioned, learners are, learners are paid in short discussion activities. Pairs can be selected, chosen randomly, or they are regularly switched. Okay? It may be useful to establish ground rules and model some appropriate question types and response. So these two activities here on our board are just simple activities that we could use in pair or group discussion, which is very, very healthy. Also, students can learn how to discuss, debate, or argue in a healthy way with their peers. Okay, another thing that we could see here is we have to incorporate activities or games with competitive element. You might be thinking, is this competitive? This bingo game? Yes, of course, it could be. Not competitive like in a negative way, but of course in a fun way and healthy way. So what you have to do in here is you have to split the class into two teams, Team A and Team B. And the team each team discuss possible questions to match the answers. There are likely to be a range of possible correct questions. So in this example, a question to which correct answer is, for example, protein could be, the answer is protein, okay? And the question could be, what do you find in a fish, in a nut, or in meat? So they have to make that kind of question to match the answer. Also, maybe they could say, what do we need to build? What do we need to build and repair tissue? So the answer there is protein. So they are given answer, and all they have to do is to make questions. Okay, they have to come up with questions. All right. We have here the next two pictures. These are good examples of activities we can do with children at the same time with middle high school or even in high school or high school students. What's that? Sorting activity does not only engage learners to work with their team, but it also enhances memory and to think how they could arrange the events in the story to come up with many meaningful stories. So that's it. That is for the sequencing. All right. For sorting, they just have to sort something. But for sequencing, they could actually arrange something in order. And this always happens in, how can I say, science or perhaps history, English, probably even in math. All right, so you can use these kinds of activities in different subjects. Very flexible and very good activity. So fun. All right, moving on. We also have here drama and role play. I know, I'm pretty sure you have tried this one when you were in high school or perhaps in middle school. Like you have to do or you have to participate in dramas or in class, how can I say, role play. So drama and role play can be fun and used successfully in any area of the curriculum. Drama is very, very valuable tool for exploring issues, making learning memorable, of course, encouraging cooperation and empathy among the students. The use of drama and role play can create an opportunity for the learners to hear and rehearse language in a meaningful context. As to be able to use in confidently, they should be, so because of this, they are able to use it confidently in speech or in writing. So dramas are also very helpful. They do not just have fun, but they can also develop their language skills. All right. Lastly, that we have is, of course, the puzzles and riddles. Have you ever tried answering this? Now we have here a riddle. It says here, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but come alive and with wind. What am I? Well, I want you to find out what's the answer for this riddle. So maybe if you found out, congratulations if you did. You did a good job if you did. Okay, so think of this. Now, why is it part of the activity? Because puzzles and riddles are very common activities to allow students to think critically and creatively. Also, it develops collaborative skills among students. And of course, they are given the chance to solve and they have to work with it together. So, Overall, we could actually use these kinds of activities if we have a lot of students in the classroom, right? Okay, so that's all for the different activities that we can incorporate in our classes if we want to use collaborative approach in our class. And if you have more recommendations, just jot it down on your notes so that in the future you could utilize them and you could use them. And if you haven't still think about it, try to research the different activities because I'm pretty sure they will come in handy when you will be needing these activities. And you will just browse your notes and then voila, you have activity. You don't have to think hard anymore. All right, so to generalize our lesson, collaborative learning can help shy students express themselves more. They get to develop different kinds of skills, and of course, they can have the chance to have fun and enjoy learning as well. If you believe that collaborative learning method can help your students, you should definitely introduce it in your classroom. So this is collaborative learning. I do hope you've learned a lot from this lecture. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. Bye.